The Battle of Belly River, a defining moment in Northern Plains history. In the sweeping grasslands of the Northern Plains, life unfolded as a constant negotiation with nature, rival tribes, and the encroaching forces of colonization. These lands, bound by the stark beauty of rolling prairies and river systems, were home to indigenous nations that thrived for millennia through their deep connection to the land, its resources, and each other. Among these nations, the Blackfoot, Confederacy, and the Cree hold central places in the story of the Plains. Their rivalry spanned generations, born from competition for bison herds, trade routes, and territorial dominance. This long-standing conflict culminated in one of the most consequential battles in Indigenous history, the Battle of Belly River. Fought in October 1870 near present-day Alberta. This engaged last major intertribal conflict in Canada, reshaped the dynamics of the Plains, and signaled profound transformations for Indigenous life. But to understand the Battle of Belly River fully, we must delve far deeper than the battlefield itself. We must explore the cultural richness of the Blackfoot and Cree nations, their spiritual worldviews, the ecological significance of the bison, and the disruptive forces introduced by European colonization. Only then can we appreciate how this singular clash became a turning point in the history of the Northern Plains. The setting, a land of bounty and peril. The Northern Plains stretched across an area that today encompasses southern Alberta, Saskatchewan, and parts of Montana and North Dakota. This region was characterized by open grasslands, interspersed with wooded river valleys and undulating hills. The Belly River, known as Isapi in the Blackfoot language, was one of many lifelines in this semi-arid landscape. Its waters supported a diversity of plant and animal life, making it a critical resource for the indigenous peoples who depended on the land. Bison herds roamed these plains in numbers that once staggered the imagination. An estimated 30 to 60 million bison grazed these lands before the arrival of European settlers, shaping the ecosystem with them. The bison were not merely a food source, they were the foundation of Plains indigenous life. Their hides became clothing and shelter, their bones and sinews transformed into tools and weapons. Even their presence shaped spiritual practices and societal norms. Life on the Northern Plains was defined by extremes. The harsh winters, with temperatures plunging well below freezing, and snowdrifts that buried the land, demanded resilience and resourcefulness. Conversely, summers brought searing heat, and storms that could flatten entire camps. Yet for those who knew the land intimately, these extremes were not barriers, but rhythms to which they adapted their lives. The Blackfoot Confederacy, keepers of the plains. The Blackfoot Confederacy, or NET, comprised three closely allied nations: the Siksika, Blackfoot, Kanehi Blood, and Petcheni Pagan. This alliance was based on shared linguistic, cultural, and spiritual traditions, creating a formidable coalition that dominated much of the Northern Plains. Their territory extended from the North Saskatchewan River to the Yellowstone River, and from the Rocky Mountains to the Great Plains. The Confederacy's cohesion was one of its greatest strengths. Decisions affecting the whole alliance were made collectively, with councils bringing together leaders from each nation. This unity enabled the Blackfoot to maintain their dominance for centuries, even as they faced threats from rival tribes and later European settlers. For the Blackfoot, the bison was more than a resource. It was central to their identity. The spiritual and practical significance of the bison was evident in their ceremonies, oral histories, and daily life. The annual bison hunt was not only an economic necessity, but also a social and spiritual event, bringing entire communities together in an act of unity and purpose. The Blackfoot believed that the bison were gifts from the Creator, requiring respect and gratitude. The Sundance, a sacred ceremony still practiced today, was deeply connected to the bison, serving as a way to honor the natural world and renew the community's spiritual and physical strength. The Blackfoot were renowned warriors, adept at both offense and defense. Their military strategies emphasized mobility, surprise, and psychological warfare. Warriors often painted themselves and their horses with symbolic designs, invoking spiritual protection and intimidating their enemies. The Blackfoot's reputation as fierce defenders of their territory was well earned and played a critical role in their survival. The Cree adapting and expanding. The Cree originally inhabited the dense boreal forests of eastern Canada, where they were skilled hunters, trappers, and fishers. As European fur traders arrived in the 17th and 18th centuries, the Cree adapted quickly, forging alliances with the Hudson's Bay Company and becoming intermediaries in the fur trade. This adaptability allowed the Cree to expand westward onto the plains, where they adopted many aspects of plains culture, including the bison hunt and the use of horses. This expansion brought them into direct conflict with the Blackfoot, who saw the Cree as on their traditional territory. The Cree's relationships with European traders gave them access to firearms, metal tools, and other goods that strengthened their position on the plains. They used these advantages to challenge the Blackfoot and other tribes, forming alliances with the Assiniboine and Metis to bolster their numbers. True spirituality emphasized the interconnectedness of all living things. Dreams and visions were considered powerful sources of guidance, often influencing decisions about war, hunting, and migration. The Cree's spiritual beliefs would play a crucial role in the events leading up to the Battle of Belly River, particularly through the visions experienced by their leader Pippo. The Blackfoot-Cree tribe rivalry. Centuries of conflict. The rivalry between the Blackfoot and Cree was rooted in competition for resources. Both nations relied heavily on bison hunting, and the plains were a finite resource. As the Cree moved westward, their encroachment on Blackfoot lands heightened tensions, leading to skirmishes and raids. The plains cultures adhered to a code of honor that demanded vengeance for acts of aggression. This cycle of retribution perpetuated conflicts, as each attack required a counterattack to restore balance and honor. These cycles made peace difficult to achieve, and ensured that tensions between the Blackfoot and Cree remained high. The introduction of European trade goods, particularly firearms, escalated the intensity of intertribal warfare. Both the Blackfoot and Cree sought to gain an advantage by aligning with trading companies, which supplied them with weapons in exchange for furs. However, these alliances also introduced destabilizing influences, such as alcohol and disease. Prelude to battle. A perfect storm. The smallpox epidemic of 1869–70 devastated indigenous communities across the northern plains. The disease, introduced by European settlers, spread rapidly, killing tens of thousands of people. The Blackfoot were particularly hard hit, losing nearly half their population. This loss weakened their military and economic strength, leaving them vulnerable to their rivals. The Cree, less affected by the epidemic, saw an opportunity to assert dominance over the weakened Blackfoot. Pippo, a Cree leader, assembled a war party numbering in the hundreds, intent on delivering a decisive blow to their rivals. However, Pippo's plans were complicated by a troubling vision: a massive buffalo with iron horns rampaging through their camp. While some interpreted the vision as a warning, others dismissed it, driven by ambition and the promise of victory. The Battle of Belly River, a day of reckoning. On the morning of October 25, 1870, the Cree launched a surprise attack on a small Blackfoot camp near the Belly River. Initially, the assault seemed successful. The Cree overwhelmed the defenders, killing many and capturing supplies. The sounds of battle alerted the main Blackfoot camp upriver, where Mountain Chief quickly mobilized his warriors. Reinforcements from the Kaya and Peconi soon arrived, creating a formidable force. The Blackfoot launched a coordinated counterattack, using their superior horsemanship and knowledge of the terrain to encircle the Cree. The battle raged throughout the day, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The Blackfoot's tactical superiority ultimately turned the tide, forcing the Cree into a desperate retreat. Many Cree warriors were killed, while others were captured or left wounded on the battlefield. The Battle of Belly River marked the end of large-scale, intertribal warfare on the northern plains. The increasing presence of European settlers, the decline of the bison, and the imposition of treaties fundamentally altered the dynamics of the region, forcing indigenous nations to adapt to a rapidly changing world. For the Blackfoot, the victory at Belly River was a testament to their resilience and unity. For the Cree, the defeat underscored the dangers of overreach and the importance of heeding spiritual warnings. Both nations faced a new era, in which their survival would depend on navigating the challenges of colonization and displacement. The battle also symbolized the end of an era for the northern plains. The bison herds, once so central to life, were being decimated by and habitat destruction. The arrival of the railroad and the spread of settlements further disrupted indigenous ways of life, leading to the marginalization of the nations that had once dominated the region. The Battle of Belly River is a story of resilience, conflict, and transformation. It reminds us of the rich cultural heritage of the Blackfoot and Cree, and the challenges they faced in defending their lands and way of life. By studying this pivotal event, we honor the enduring spirit of the Northern Plains, Indigenous peoples, and gain a deeper understanding of their history and legacy.